Hello, my name is Arthur, and in this video we're looking at changing and fixing the player script to simplify things and make it work better. So where the problem is in the choice to go about spawning a player the way that I did, which is turning out to be a mistake. It's worked in a previous game effort just fine, but now with different ways of dying than I had in that game effort, it's not going to work so good. So what I've done in advance is I've put in a new variable in the game manager script. So what it is it's to load the player scene. So it's just the address of the player scene copied into this statement. Then I've given a function to spawn player, which this may get changed in the future. Um, but for now, it will just spawn the player. In the future, if I want to make something like enemies that regenerate on the board after a certain amount of time, it would probably also be handled in Game Manager. So I've written this in advance because I had to look it up from one of my old scripts because I haven't instanced something in a little while. So this is what that reads like. We create a variable in which we create an instance called player scene. We put it to a location which is going to be fed to this function by the player when he dies, and will be the variable home that we used in spawn player in the first place. And then we just add the child, which is the scene instance. So this should work. And then in the player, we just need to change things around a bit. So on die animation finished, we don't need to do this anymore. That's irrelevant. We'll need to we'll put the game over right here. So if the game's ended, it doesn't need to spawn. So now we'll go else spawn, and then we'll go queue free. So after we make a call to spawn, we'll go queue free. So up in spawn, we need to change this. Most of it we don't need. We'll need to change this. And we'll need to put this back into function ready, because we'll need to have our health assigned. So that'll happen in function ready again. Let's change this to spawn animation. And spawn animation would be a function spawn animation. So that's what this would do. And then all of this can just go. None of this should matter anymore. And the variable alive is probably not necessary anymore either. But we'll leave it there just in case it proves necessary for some reason. So that's one we'll revisit. So this would be game manager dot spawn player. Game manager, not too few arguments for spawn player, and then it needs the location, and the location is home. So that should make it so that any level that he gets spawned in, he will spawn at the home location. So like what that would mean is in say we made a level 2 and the game started with him up here, this would be home position because that's assigned in script on as an on-ready var. So when scene 2 started, it would adapt the new home position. So let's just play and see if that gets the player working properly or if we have any mistakes in that. It really simplified the script to do that, so it's a positive change, and that's kind of the way I see developing when I'm messing around with Godot. Making mistakes is kind of how I learn. So that seems to be working good, and it's going to encounter less problems when he dies being done that way. So we'll chalk up the other method as a mistake, and I'll be looking at using this method and the benefits of this method. So everything's worked. We have 2 players, and in the next video we'll come back and we'll do something about the block. So let's just die one more time to make sure everything's all good. Let's push the block into the way and see what happens here. So we knocked the block into the way. This is the next potential error, and I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah, it just gets jammed in there. So everything seems to be functioning though, so in the next video or 2 we'll struggle through figuring out how to get this spike belt to be able to apply a force to push the block out of the way of the platform. And until then, I hope this was useful, and take care.